Thanks for listening to another episode of the Unlockable podcast. You're going to hear Hannah and I talk about what we've been playing recently because, truthfully, we're pretty busy this month, so we didn't have a ton of time for a research-driven episode, but we still wanted to get an episode out to you guys. This is technically what we do at the end of each episode, but it's always pretty rushed, so this will be more fleshed out on the games we've been enjoying lately. Please do let us know if you have any feedback for us by hitting us up on social media or in the Discord. The links are in the show description. And while you're there, make sure to leave us a positive rating on your preferred podcast app. Here we go. Welcome back to the Unlockable podcast. My name's Christian, and I'm joined as always by the Game Girl Advanced SP herself.
That's me.
Hannah, why don't you tell the audience what time it is that we are starting recording on this lovely Monday at night?
Well, it's almost Tuesday for me, technically. It is 11:15 in Eastern Standard.
I don't have data to back this up, but this might be the latest we've ever started a podcast.
I think you're right. I feel like there's a certain level of like slap happy delusion that happens when we record this late, so I'm excited to see where this one goes.
Yeah, it just took me a few tries to get that intro correct, but you guys will never know that on the listening side.
No, we'll definitely add it in the bloopers. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, so we're pretty busy. I know that you were just in little Tejas checking out the sun. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so me and my family, we love going to like the solar eclipses. The first one we went to was in 2017. We went to Georgia, and then this one, we went to little old Waco, Texas. And when I say little, I mean little. If you know anything about Waco, Texas, it's like where Chip and Joanna Gaines, like the freaking house renovators, town innovators, blah, blah, blah. That's like where their thing is set up. So they took like this zero town of Waco, Texas and built it up. Anyway, so we spent most of our time there. They had like food trucks, shops, nice clean facilities or whatever. And we watched the total solar eclipse and it was so freaking cool. It is like something that you cannot explain to the point where people would get it. It's just like you have to be there to really fully experience it. It was awesome.
I didn't know that about you and your family. That's pretty cool. I thought this was a one-off thing.
Nope, we're a bunch of weirdos. But the next one's not going to happen for like 20 something years. So my parents are like, well, we'll probably be dead or like, you know, not mentally around. So let's go see it now. It's morbid, but it's true. But we had a great time. It was so much fun. It's like the whole world goes dark. And this one was a really long one. The last one we went to was only lasted for like 2 minutes. This one lasted for like 4.5 minutes. So it was awesome.
So the last one wasn't 20 years ago?
The last one was not 20 years ago. Solar eclipses happen very frequently around the world, but it's very rare that a lot of the path crosses in the United States.
I'm definitely on the, like until you said that a minute ago, I've always been on the side of like, I don't know why people would travel to see this. And I was outside for it, just like working from home, I think. Or no, I had the day off. But I was like outside looking at it with my like 95% visibility or whatever. And it was nothing exciting, but it's apparently I'm missing out.
It's not very exciting unless it's 100%. And it is still cool to watch like the sun disappear, don't get me wrong. But like you really don't get how cool it is. And even the pictures, even like the high res NASA pictures that you see, still don't do it justice. It's like this giant black and white eyeball in the sky. It is so freaking amazing. And I've seen it twice, and it still took my breath away.
That's awesome.
It was lovely. I would do it again.
Good. You can do it again in 2044.
Yeah, it's actually crossing through Florida. I don't have to go anywhere. It'll be in my backyard.
The reason we're recording so late is because did you hear that they are bringing back the Spider-Man films to theaters?
No. Which ones? Wait, hold on. Back it up. Which ones?
All 8.
Ooh. Like in a marathon or?
Yeah, I watched all 8 today.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. So last week was the first one. They've been doing every Monday, but I guess these theaters have been selling out. Which, I mean, it's only been a week, but the theaters are selling out for these films, so they've just decided to extend it to like, they're doing it for a whole week now for each movie, which is cool. But we already have our tickets, my friends and I, for the first three movies with Tobey Maguire.
Oh, the
And
best
I
ones.
last week I saw the very first one, and it had probably been like maybe 10 years. Like it had been a long time, man. Um, and it was just so nostalgic. Like whenever you first started getting into video game collecting, and you're like buying all these games that you didn't get to play as a kid, just like a very similar feeling, or like I guess a better analogy would be like if you've played a game that you've been playing since you were a child or whatever. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. It's late.
Yes.
But it was incredibly nostalgic. Like I physically remember going to a like McDonald's and having some freaking food before going to see that movie. It was one of those McDonald's that was in a Walmart, I'm pretty sure. Um,
Oh, way back in the day.
right. Like 2002, I think, is when that one came out or whatever. But I mean, I
Smokes.
was like 6. Very core memory for me. And those movies freaking, I guess, shaped the outcome of my life, right? Because like I read Spider-Man comics so much now, and I'm a big Spidey guy, but it's super nostalgic. And they even gave us a freaking poster after the movie.
Ooh, cool.
I don't even like, it's like not big enough for like a big poster frame. It's one of those small vertical ones. Um I don't know. I'll probably hold on to it and then never hang it up for like 5 years and then
Forget about it in the back of
um
your closet and be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
so I went to see the second one tonight with Doc Ock, and it must have been 10 years since I've seen that one too. Like it was like I hadn't seen it so long that I didn't even remember it fully. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember going to see them in theaters. I was young, obviously younger than you, but I still remember being freaking scared by Green Goblin and being like, no, I don't, this is too scary. As a 5-year-old,
Yeah,
being
there's some jump
scarred.
scare type scenes in that freaking movie.
Hell yeah. 5-year-old scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, so that's why we're recording late. The movie started at like 6:30. Well, honestly, the credits, like I mean the freaking trailers didn't even start rolling until like 6:40 at night, and I was like, man.
Jeez.
And I think it's like a 2-hour movie, so yeah,
Dang.
worth it
Worth
though.
it. So worth
Yeah.
it.
Um yeah, so today we're going to talk about, this is going to be kind of a short episode because you're actually about to do some more traveling this month. So we are
Yeah.
on a pretty tight schedule. Um so we don't have a lot of time to record this month. So we didn't have time for a research episode, but we are going to talk about what we've been playing lately. I'm as surprised as you are, listener. Hannah's been playing video games. That's pretty exciting.
Wait till you talk about what we've been buying.
Oh, shoot. Um So yeah, it might be a shorter episode than usual, but we will be back in action next month for the 50th episode spectacular.
Woohoo!
I guess that's it for the pre-show shenanigans. You ready to get into it?
Heck yeah. I can go first.
All right.
Get everybody excited. So I believe I talked about this last month when we talked about what we've been playing, but I obviously didn't go into detail. Do you remember a game called Suika that I
Oh
mentioned?
yeah, the little indie game.
Yeah, so it's called Watermelon Game. Suika in Japan, or in Japanese means watermelon. And it's developed by a company called Aladdin X, which doesn't mean anything to me, it doesn't mean anything to you. Just a fun fact. The game was originally developed for the company's digital projector in April of 2021. Digital projector, you stick that shit to the wall, and then it projects like a TV screen or whatever on your wall. Um, I don't know why. I don't know how it was played.
Wow.
Because obviously it's a Japanese thing only, but I thought that was incredibly interesting. And then it gained popularity, I guess. Maybe a lot of people bought the Aladdin X projector thingy. But anyway, it started picking up traction in Japan, and then it was released on the eShop December of 2021 in Japan. And then it got a global release in October of 2023, so not that long ago. I guess a lot of Japanese VTubers picked it up, a lot of Twitch streamers picked it up, and so it just bam, blew up in popularity. And if you've never seen it, it's like the cute little watermelon with a little smiley face on it, a bunch of cute little fruits. Basically, it's like if you took Tetris and you mixed it. You remember the game 2048? We had to like slide the tiles over.
Oh wow.
Two together with 2 equals 4, 4 together with 4 equals 8, and 16, blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of like that.
Memory unlocked.
Yeah, right. That was big in high school.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of like that, but instead of using fruits. So you have a little container, and you play as like a little cloud who like goes back and forth over container. Wherever you want, you drop these fruits. So cherry with a cherry equals a strawberry. A strawberry with a strawberry equals a grape. A grape plus a grape equals an orange, and blah, 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 all the way till you get to a melon, plus a melon equals, bam, a watermelon. And that's kind of the whole point of the game. But the hard part is, A, getting a watermelon, and just in general, and getting all the fruits to kind of line up, but also trying to keep it in said container. So as soon as a fruit either flies out of said container, or you drop a fruit and it kind of hangs over that lip a little bit, bam, done, over, game over. So it's got a very interesting kind of strategy involved with it. Unlike Tetris, the pieces move around, so obviously they're fruits, they're circular, they'll roll around. The force of two fruits combining together will pop, kind of make like a little popping sensation, and it'll hit the fruit around it, so it's always moving, it's always adjusting. You got to kind of fix your strategy to that. And it's super fun. I played it, I think, like 10 or 12 times before I finally got to a watermelon, which was very, very exciting. Me and my friend like became absolutely obsessed with it. It's fun. It's something you can pick up, put down, 5 minutes, whatever. Very addicting. The only crutch I had about it was the music plays over and over and over. It doesn't like mix up. It doesn't get faster. There's no remixes. It's just like the same music over and over and over again. So you kind of got to either like mute it and listen to something else, or just like turn that side of your brain off. Other than that, it's just a super fun little addicting game. And then they added a paid DLC for $2.50. $2.50. Mwah. Beautiful. And released it on the eShop as of, I didn't write the date, but very, very recently. I think it was like last month they released it. They talked about it in a Direct, I think, maybe.
One of those things.
Anyway, so it added multiplayer mode. So basically, there's 3 different modes. You can either just original, 2 players can play at once. You just kind of compete for the highest scores until somebody loses. There's time limit, which is each player has 5 minutes. You compete together, and then the fruits drop faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And at the end, like towards the end of the time limit, you can't even think. The fruits just are falling, and it's just kind of basically whoever can survive. And then the last one is attack mode, where you can sabotage your opponent by sending them random ass fruits, which I thought would actually hurt them, but sometimes it actually helps them. So you kind of got to be like smart about what fruit you're going to drop. But anyway, it's just a fun, cute little puzzle game. I love puzzle games. I will play any puzzle game you put in front of me. And that's just one I think that you should play because it's really fun.
Me and you?
Yeah, we could. You got to buy it.
You can play online?
Yes, you can.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
well, actually, hold on. Let me walk that back. You will be able to play online when the next DLC drops. So soon.
What is the game, like $5?
I think it's only like $3 or something.
Yeah, it's something crazy like that, and then the DLC's dirt cheap. Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy with a puzzle game too. Like, as long as it's not just like a ripoff of like Bejeweled or whatever, like a match 3 basic game, like
Candy Crush.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a lot more than that. It sounds like it's a Tetris spin-off of sorts. It sounds pretty cool.
Yes. It is very fun. Very addicting, too. Like, I swear to God, me and my friend sat there and played it for like 3 hours. And we still didn't get a watermelon. And I'm like, well, I guess we got to do the same thing tomorrow.
Dang.
It was awesome. Would definitely
recommend. You're living
recommend.
your best life over there.
That's right.
Which one do I want to start with here? I think we will go with Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2.
Ooh. You mentioned that one last episode, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. So this game, I couldn't believe it. It's already been out for almost 4 years now. July of 2020.
Whoa.
I played it, or I am currently playing it on the PlayStation 4. It was a game developed by Inti Creates. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that last episode, but I'll give the whole spiel real quick. It was produced by Koji Igarashi, and Igarashi was a producer and programmer for the Castlevania games from the time they became the quote-unquote Metroidvania style games, which is Symphony of the Night through the DS games. So he left after the DS games, roughly 2014. He went to go form this company called ArtPlay, and ArtPlay is the company that raised $5.5 million to create Ritual of the Night. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is a spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night. So
Okay, hold on.
that's a
To
lot,
non
right?
Castlevania fans, this is so confusing. We need
That's so
a
true.
Castlevania episode where we just walk through everything because I get really confused.
They make too many puns off of other titles, like Ritual of the Night, Symphony of the Night. You don't know what the heck's going on.
No.
Um, no, you're right. I should slow it down because 3 years ago I was the same way. Um, yeah. So essentially, this guy Igarashi used to work on Castlevania, and he left Konami in 2014 and started his own company called ArtPlay, and that was a company that they needed money to make their first game, so they raised $5.5 million on Kickstarter, and they made Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which was going to be a spiritual successor to Igarashi's time at Konami. Um, yeah, that's the rundown there. Um, Now that game I have yet to play. That's like the main game. But while they were making that, it was taking a long time, and so back in 2018, they actually gave us a game to tide us over called Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. And I did play that one like 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, maybe five even. Um, Great game. So that game is an homage to classic Castlevania games, and it's actually not developed by Igarashi's new company. It is developed by a company called Inti Creates, like I mentioned. But it was like, Koji Igarashi was super involved in that process. So this is kind of like a prequel to Ritual of the Night. Um, and then that game, that prequel that was just supposed to tide people over, was like super successful and people enjoyed the heck out of it, and so it got a sequel. And so that's
Oh.
how we get to the game that I'm talking about now. So Curse of the
Oh.
Moon 2.
Okay.
A sequel to the prequel. um Yeah. So the company that made this is actually a bunch of ex-Capcom employees. Inti Creates. They formed in 1999, and they've actually helped develop quite a few Capcom games, which I think is neat because when you think of like Dark Clover that we talked about in the Okami episode, it's like they are definitely not on good terms with Capcom.
Oof.
But this is a different type of scenario here where they're still making Mega Man stuff, and it's pretty cool. Um, So I bought this on sale a few months ago digitally on the PS4. It was like $3 or something. I think it's regularly like 20 or 30. I don't even know. It was like really cheap.
Bargain.
Um, Loved the first game, like I said. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it on this podcast because that's how recently I've played it. But um, yeah, it's been about 5 years. But let's talk about Curse of the Moon 2 specifically. Awesome freaking soundtrack, just like the first game. Awesome sprite work. It's like unparalleled how freaking good the sprite work is in this game. It's one of those games that is just your typical like Shovel Knights. I always reference Shovel Knight because it seems like all indie games just became like this 8-bit style. I think that was one of your things that you said was overdone in
I
games.
hated it. Yes.
Yeah. It is super overdone, but it looks great, and the sprite work is definitely great. In this game. Um, so the thing that I think really connects it to the classic Castlevania games is that it is incredibly difficult. And they have a difficulty for everyone, which is great. I'm playing on the middle one, which is called Veteran, which sounds like it's the hardest thing in the world. I don't even know what the hard mode is called. I forget. I'm playing on the middle difficulty like a normal person, and it stays true to the classic Castlevania style where you lose all your lives, you got to restart the entire level. There's one easier, one harder than that. The bosses in this game are very difficult and they will piss you off. I actually, you know what? I just unlocked a memory. I totally slammed a controller down while playing the first game back in like 2019. I got
Oh
really mad at
no.
this freaking game.
Oh man, poor controller.
They are incredibly true to the original Castlevanias, but also they're not just like directly ripping it off. Like they actually have things that set them apart. Um, they have hidden paths and paths that aren't hidden necessarily, but are just like challenging to get to. Very reminiscent to Rondo of Blood. But what really sets it apart is there are 4 different characters in these games that you switch between at will. You just like tap RB or whatever, R1 if you're playing on I don't even have to explain it. Anyways, it's R1 on every controller. Um, when one dies, you don't have to like lose a whole life. You actually just can go back to the checkpoint with your remaining characters. So now you're just missing one of the 4 characters, and you do that until you lose all 4 characters. And if you're really lucky, there is the occasional like revive all 4 characters, which is pretty sweet. Um, but honestly, each character has like unique regular and special abilities, and I feel like they all complement each other super well. So it's never like, oh, it's okay, I can just sacrifice so and so because he sucks. Like it's not like that. It's like I actually want to keep these guys alive because depending on what enemy I'm about to face or what platform I'm about to like cover, like I want this person alive. So I think they did a good job of balancing them like that. Um, per usual, I could not tell you what the heck the story is in these games. Maybe when I play the mainline game, Ritual of the Night, I might give a dang.
Ugh.
Um, but yeah, it's a pretty short game. It is difficult, which makes the length increase. But I am almost done. Probably 7 or 8 levels in the game, and I think I'm on level 6.
Wow. How many times do you think you've restarted a level over?
I have restarted a level probably 2 or 3 times. Not too
Wow.
bad, but definitely a lot of anger.
That doesn't sound too bad.
I
Oh.
think the first 4 levels had me like, oh, you know what? This isn't too bad. I'm kind of a beast. And then level 5 hit, and I died. Like I probably had to restart 3 times, and I started getting really mad.
The game said, watch this. Watch me. Think this is
Right?
easy? Yeah, right. That's awesome. So, do you like it better than the Castlevania series or no?
No, I think it does a great job though of. I mean, I don't know. I say no because I want to be like this true hardcore Castlevania guy, but like maybe it might actually be better than some of them.
Oh.
I would have to think about that. It's a
Hmm.
pretty solid game.
I will never touch it, but I'm happy that you found one that you like. All right. Next one.
Yeah.
Are you surprised? The next one is Okami. No, I'm kidding.
I thought you were gonna
uh,
say RuneScape.
no. I have been playing that, but no, I would never bore anyone with that again. This one is Bait and Kados, which I've talked about a lot, but I didn't want to go into detail because I thought we might do like a Monolith Soft episode or maybe one of these that I could throw in there. But I have 5 pages of notes, so freaking buckle up.
All right. I am excited to
So,
hear about this.
okay, good. So, Spade and Kados, there's a really long title, Eternal Wings and the Lost Ocean. It was developed by Monolith Soft, who I love so much, and a company called Tri Crescendo. Published by Namco, came out on the GameCube. It came out in Japan in December of 2003, the US in November 2004, and then PAL regions in April of 2005. So it's been all over the board. And then it recently saw a re-release as an HD remaster on the Switch in September of 2023. But for whatever reason, it didn't receive a physical copy in the US. So I had to import my copy from PlayAsia. I don't remember if it was like one of those all regions international ones, because it was still English on the spine, not Japanese, not Chinese, not anything. But I know it doesn't matter. But it was all in
I don't
English
remember
except the
either.
voices. The voices are all in Japanese, which so much better than English. Anyway, I think I talked about it a little bit, but it is one of the most unique RPGs I've ever played. I know the
Hmm.
GameCube kind of didn't have a lot of RPGs in general, so the fact that it got such a cool, fascinating, unique one is kind of mind-blowing to me. And then the fact that it got another one, a sequel after that, is also kind of mind-blowing to me. Haven't started that yet, but I will, hopefully. So unlike most, if not all, other RPGs, the player doesn't play as the main character, but is instead it's called a guardian spirit and is mostly like an observer to the story that's playing out in front of you. You kind of
Wow.
just help guide the party through the game by like supplying some kind of dialogue. So some characters can see you, some characters cannot. You're mostly unseen and unheard, except for like randomly the main character will be like, well, what does my guardian spirit think about this? And then it'll ask you some question like, oh, should we trust this person? Should we not? How do you feel about this situation? Blah, 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 blah. And you can supply whatever dialogue you want. There's two options, but I don't think that it changes the story or anything at all. The character might just say something in response to you that's different depending on what dialogue choice you pick. But I did find out, and I don't know specifically what it does, but while researching this episode, that if you pick the dialogue box that's like the more rational answer and it matches the kind of personality traits of the character that asked you said question, they actually do better in battle. So I'm
Oh,
like, that would have
interesting.
been nice to know. So instead of just picking the stupidly irrational one because you thought it would be funny, you should pick the rational one that any normal person would pick, and you actually do better. Didn't know that. I just thought it was, they needed you to do something in the game. Besides the Guardian Spirit aspect, the game plays just like any other turn-based RPG as far as control and like the battle goes. Like turn-based combat, blah, 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 blah. But the cool thing about this one, what makes it different than other RPGs, is that the battle is conducted using a card system. And so the cards are called Magnus cards. I'm just going to refer to them as cards because Magnus is a wonkadoodle-doo word. It's a made-up word. I don't like that. But anyway, the cards are integrated in both battle and outside in the overworld. So the Magnus can kind of absorb and store the essence of like real-world objects to use later. And they can be used for things like combat, like swords, attacks, armor, blah, 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 blah. Can be used for like a quest item or like a key item to keep the story moving forward, which is really neat. So they integrated the cards obviously in battle, but also into the real world. So it's like all connected. It doesn't feel super disjointed from each other, which I thought was really freaking fascinating.
Yeah.
Some objects are already found in their card form. Like, the game really wants you to kind of explore all these houses and all these environments. And, like, that pot over there looks suspicious. You should go touch it. You should go explore everything. And it rewards you by giving you, like, random Magnus cards everywhere. It's like, oh, I looked at this random person's, bookshelf, and it gave me, like, a card that'll heal. Or it gave me an armor card. Or it gave me a really cool sword card. It, like, rewards you for that kind of thing, which I really,
There
really like.
way too many games out there where I go and click on every freaking bookcase and get nothing for it.
Nothing. This one, it's like every bookcase you should go explore. Every
Nice.
pot, every painting, every weird wall, literally everything. And it's not super well, I'll get to that later, but most of the items aren't like super duper helpful. It's just like, oh, this one's going to kill you, or oh, that you already have this card, but it might be nice to have a second one. It's not like anything that's going to like break the game or anything. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like fun. It's like, ooh, wow, I found this. So some objects, like I said, are already in their card form, but sometimes you need to capture the essence of something else that's in the world. So for example, they give you these blank Magnus cards, and it's got nothing on it, so you can do whatever you want with it. And so if you see a random pot over there in that corner, you can go stand in front of it, click the A button, and the game will be like, do you want to capture the essence of this stagnant water in it? And you can either say yes or no. And if you say yes, the game will like raise the card up in the air and it'll be like, ooh, some magical cool thing. And it'll collect the essence of the water in that card. And now you have the water with you.
Wow.
And you have a limited amount depending on how many like Blake Magnus cards you have. I think by the end of the game, I only had like 7. So it's kind of a rare commodity. But anyway, that water can be used as like, just for example, to give someone the water to water their flowers or whatever. Their flowers are dying. It's a dry, arid environment. They need water. You give them the water. Bing, bang, boom. Another example is like you need to clean off something like a painting or whatever that had been vandalized. Or if you want to give like a homeless person something to drink, you can give them that water and interact with them in the world, which I thought was
Could
really
you
fun.
could you alternatively take that card to battle?
No, so there is a difference between the ones that you can use in battle and the ones that you can only use in the overworld.
Okay.
So with these ones, once you use it, it's gone. Like once you give that homeless person that water, water's gone. right?
I see.
Versus the ones you can use in battle, you always have them. So unless you sell them, of course, or the game like determines that you can't use that one anymore for whatever story reason. Those kind
Yeah.
of cards are armor, weapons, healing items, some cards with special effects. So just like any deck building game, you can pick whatever card, like Yu-Gi-Oh. You know Yu-Gi-Oh. You pick your deck, and then you
Oh
can do
yeah.
whatever you want. You pick monsters and blah 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 blah. Those cards never go away. They're shuffled through every battle you do, and then once you run out of cards in battle, it shuffles them again, just like any other card mechanic. Some of these cards have attributes. Most of them can only be used by certain players. Like, obviously, if your character is a sword wielder, you're not going to be able to use magic cards. The magic cards would go with the magic wielder. The sword cards would be used with the character who wields the sword. There are special ones like that it can only be attached to some characters, which also is like another layer of strategy. Let's see. Oh, also, this one was a doozy. Didn't figure this one out until like halfway through the game. So the Magnus cards that you have in your deck can actually like automatically change and evolve in real time, for better or for worse. So like early on in the game, you get a bunch of like food cards or like fruit cards because they heal you and blah 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 blah. And so as you're battling, the cards will change in real time. So I'll put all this fruit into my card inventory, and then I'll get to the battle after a couple hours, after a couple battles, and now I have rotten fruit. And now if I eat said rotten fruit, it's going to hurt me.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where like you have to like keep looking at your items because they'll freaking change without telling you at all. So it confused the heck out of me that my fruit would disappear and I'd get rotten fruit. There's also other stuff like that, but the fruit is just kind of the simpler ones. Milk is another one. You can get milk from like any of the storefronts, and then eventually, after so many hours, it'll turn into cheese, and then it'll heal you even more. So it's a really cool thing. Another card is the camera card, which will take a picture of the enemy. You can also take a picture of the character, but it doesn't get used much. And it's like how you make money in the game. Like you can sell the Magnus cards, like the armor, the healing items, blah 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 blah. But it's like such a small amount that it's not worth it. So if you put a camera into everyone's inventory and they take a picture of the enemy, it's like so much more. It's like an absurd amount of money if you get like a good picture. That seemed like a random thing to me, but it was cool.
Yeah.
And just an example of like how like freaking nuanced the card thing is. So there was a boss in the game that every so often it would hit you with permadeath or instant death, I think it was called. And it would just bam. No matter what you did, your character, bam, done. You have 3 characters in battle. That means you only have 2 now, and you're like basically screwed. And it was freaking driving me insane that I kept dying over and over and over and over again because he would kill my character and I'd be like, okay, I can do this with 2. And then he'd kill my other character and I was like, okay, there's no way I can do this with 1 person. That's insane. And so I looked it up because I was so frustrated. I was like, I don't have any items to help this. And so halfway through the game, you get this item called the Holy Grail. And you only get 1 of them. And so as you progress through the games, as the game progresses, you get more cards in your deck. So if you have 40, 50 cards, the chance of getting this 1 card is kind of rare, kind of hard to get because it's random. You don't really know exactly when you're going to get it. So there's a way to get more Holy Grails. And if you go into this one random town and you search, I believe it's drawers. There's like a drawer on the left-hand side and a drawer on the right-hand side. If you search those drawers, you get 2 pens. One is the Tri-Crescendo pen and the Monolith pen. And if that rings a bell, it's because that's the name of the developers. They put this in here. And if you use both of these pens in battle in one turn at the same time, then at the end of the game, or the end of the round, it gives you another Holy Grail. So, like, they put this in here that they are the only ones that can make a Holy Grail, which I thought was just funny in general. And then the second part of that is you have to get rice from, like, a storefront. And then after so often it becomes, I think it's rice wine is what it becomes. And then it heals you even more, blah, 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 blah. But then if you put that rice wine and that Holy Grail, then it makes, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like a holy brew or something or whatever. And then that revives you. So it's like so many different things. Like, no way would I have ever figured that out had I not looked it up.
Yeah,
It's
what
like
the heck?
so many different things having to come together. It's like, what? Um, Also, in normal battle, you can combine the Magnus cards, and then sometimes they make something cool. So, like, one of the ones is like honeydew melon and like honey or something, and it becomes like a sweet drink, a sweet elixir or something, and then it heals you even more. But it's like, it really wants you to kind of combine all of these different things. Just use random things and then see what happens. And it's really fun to find that you make something completely random. It's like, oh man, that was so cool. I made something cool and it's actually going to help me just by doing whatever the heck I want and sending whatever cards I want in battle.
Yeah.
Super neato. And then combat, I'll talk about that a little more because it's a little bit different than normal turn-based. So you can customize whatever characters you want. There's 6 characters that you get throughout the game. They each have kind of their own different attack things like any other RPG. You attack with 3 at a time. So player goes, enemy goes, player goes, enemy gets turn base. But then there's also an offensive, what is it called? Block, and then a defensive block. And usually it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But for whatever reason, sometimes the enemy gets to go like 8 times, which seems really, really unfair. And sometimes you only get to go once. It's just whatever the game dictates, I suppose. But in the beginning of the game, you have an unlimited amount of time to kind of pick the cards that you want. And the cards are just displayed right there on the screen so you can see them. But as you level up, the time actually gets shorter. I think by the end of the game, I think the lowest I ever had was 5 seconds, but it could have been 3 seconds. So you got to make decisions very, 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 very quickly. You have to be really good with numbers and also reaction time, very, very quick. So in an offensive turn, you select whatever attack cards you want. And as you level up, you get more cards in your hand. Each card has a number on it in the corner. In the beginning of the game, there's only one number you really have to worry about, and then so making combos is really, really difficult. But as you keep going, then as your cards get better, every corner has a number, and so things get very, very, very complicated very, very quickly. The main purpose of the numbers is to kind of make a combo with it. So it's kind of like poker in a way, is so you can do either a sequence of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, for example. They have to be in that specific order for it to count as a combo. And then you can also do pairs. So like 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. So it'd be 3 of a kind of 2s. And then a pair of
Playing
3s.
poker out here.
Yeah, see? It's like gambling, but funner. Stuff like that. You can also do it out of order. The sequence has to be in order, but the pairs doesn't have to be. So it can be like a 2, a 3, a 4, a 4, a 2, and a 3, and it'll still count. And then your total is kind of calculated at the end. You can attack without doing the combo pairs, but it's going to be significantly less. It's like, why? You might as well just skip that turn and wait till you get more cards. Let's see. You have to be careful about which Magnus cards you use, though, because some of them can only be played after playing like 3 or 4 cards in front of it. It's like a combo card. And then there's other Magnus cards where it like will end your turn completely. It's like the finishing Magnus card. And so you can't play anything after that. Those are all pretty cool. The animations for all those are also really awesome. You can turn that off if you want, but I think it's really cool to see like your opponent fly up in the air and do like some funny sword thing.
You would turn it off to speed it up, I guess.
No. Yeah, you can. I never did that though. I thought it was fun because each move is different. And then they also have auto battle on, which you can toggle that on if you want, which that's stupid. I liked being there for all my battles. It also helped kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like Pokemon or like whatever those Magic. Like once you are familiar with a card, you start to get really, really quick with it.
Yeah.
So like the more you battle, the easier it is to be like, okay, I know what number's on that one. I know what number's on that one. So I think it kind of makes it a little bit easier.
For sure.
And then defensive cards act exactly the same. You want to get the combo 1 numbers, blah, 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 blah. Nothing special about that one except for it's just like armor. And then leveling up, like normal RPGs, you gain experience from battling. There are 2 kinds of leveling up. You need to go pray at a church. There's regular leveling up, which will just increase your strength, your health, blah, 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 your stats increase. But then there's also raising your class or leveling up your class, which increases the amount of cards you can hold in your deck. increases the number of cards you can hold in your hand, and also decreases the time in which you can make said card choices.
Oh wow.
So it's very, very different than any RPG I've ever played. Like I've said previously, I hate turn-based things, and thus, of course, I'm playing Pokemon or Paper Mario, in which case I can take it for a very, very, very short amount of time before I'm just like, this is the same thing over and over and over again. But this one, it literally felt like the battles were so drastically different every single time. Like there are so many, it was like an infinite combination of what I could do, especially experimenting with like new cards and new characters and new strategies and stuff. It just made it so much more interesting and meaty and kind of really, really fun to dive into as far as strategy goes.
It sounds like, I mean, Bandai must have really thought that they had something special here 20 years later to re-release this, because I feel like there's probably not a ton of demand for this to be ported. I mean, Bandai probably has so many other titles they could have brought over that I don't know, like I don't know how popular this is in Japan or how much clamor there's been for like a Switch re-release. I'm honestly a little surprised to see these games brought back in 2023. But I mean, they must have seen like I said, they must have seen something special in these games, and it sounds like they are very unique.
I absolutely love them. I was struggling so hard not to freaking dive into Origins, which is the prequel game, but it's also supposed to be better in terms of like combat and all that jazz. Released later because we had to play Okami, and I was like, I know that if I start this one, I am not going to play Okami, and we almost didn't
Yeah.
finish it anyway, so I'm glad I didn't. But everything about this game is just so freaking unique. And I was going to talk about the story, but like honestly, I think whoever wants to play it should just dive into it because it's a very, very monolith soft story. And if you know anything about it, there's going to be twists, there's going to be turns, bad guys turn good guys turn bad guys, people aren't who they say they are, all that kind of fun stuff. It is a roller coaster of a ride, and it is so good.
Has there been any talk of a third game?
Well, while I was researching this, apparently there was supposed to be a DS game, a Bait and
Oh.
Kato's DS game. I don't know if it was a prequel, a sequel, or whatever it was, but obviously that was canned. And then there was supposed to be a Bait and Kato's 3 at some point, but of course, Origins I think came out at the end of the GameCube's life cycle, so I don't think it sold as well as they were
Hmm.
hoping it would.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But maybe Bandai will see that, oh my gosh, there was a lot of demand for this, the remaster at least,
Yeah.
and so maybe they'll be like, okay, we'll uncover those ideas, or maybe we'll make a new one. I'm totally down for it. I would get it day one.
I wonder if Monolith was involved in the remasters, or are they under Nintendo now?
I don't know. I feel like if Bandai didn't want to put them in at all, they wouldn't have included the Monolith pen. But I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
they were credited in the credits, and their logo showed up like before the game starts, like when it's saying all the companies and stuff. So I don't know. I did not look that up.
No
Hope
worries.
they were.
Fingers crossed for a new game for you though.
Oh, I would buy it. Like I said, day one. It was so cool, so cool.
On stream, I just finished Rayman 2: The Great Escape, and that was the Sega Dreamcast version. I have never played the Dreamcast version, but the one I'm always like fond of that I talk about on the show and stuff is the N64 one that I grew up with. But this was my first time experiencing the Dreamcast version. This one actually came out the following year in March of 2000 and was developed by Ubisoft Montpellier. And there are quite a few version differences between like lots of Rayman releases. It's actually super interesting, and like people on Reddit are like, "What's the best way to play Rayman 2?" And like, there's really no straight answer, which is like super annoying, but it's also kind of interesting. It like forces you to play multiple versions if you care that much. I certainly wouldn't like if it was just like a random game, but since it's my guy, I'm all for it. But I wrote some differences down. Um, so the best version, like I said, highly debated online. But the Dreamcast version came out months after the N64 and PC versions, but months before the PS1 version. So kind of in the middle there. They like overhauled the overworld. It's completely revamped. So typically you're kind of like strolling down this like eerie river to go between levels. That's your overworld. But in this game, it's like you're on an island, and so they call it the Isle of
Mm.
Doors instead of the Hall of Doors. Um, this one actually, so the N64 and PC were the same game. Like the N64 was ported to the PC version, but it looked better. And so the Dreamcast actually takes a lot of those improved visuals and textures from the PC version, and the Dreamcast was such a powerhouse in 1999 and 2000 that they actually improved on the quality of the textures. So that's pretty neat. It was definitely like a gorgeous game, especially compared to the N64 version.
Oh man, poop it on the N64. It tried its hardest.
There are mini games in this one that were exclusive to the Dreamcast version. You can access them by gathering like a new collectible throughout the levels. They're called Glowbox crystals. Glowbox is one of the main characters. I played none of them because I don't really care. I should check them out, but I don't think I got any Glowbox crystals. That sounds like something I'll say that I'll do someday and then never get around to it.
Been there.
There's a new enemy type in the Dreamcast version, and this is the first one to have widescreen, and you can also adjust the aspect ratio, which is neat. And there is a cutscene that never made it into the other versions. So I probably saw that cutscene and didn't even realize that it was like a new version. But I'm going to look that up and see what that scene was. This would be the version that ended up getting ported to the iPhone of all places in 2010 and
What?
the 3DS port in 2011. Funny enough, though, that was not the version that was used on Rayman 2 for the DS. That was actually the N64 version. So it's just like crazy, like ports and like differences all over the place, man.
Oh, how could you keep track? Jeez.
I will say that I prefer the soundtrack of the N64 version, which is just hilarious because it's the only one that wasn't on a disc, right? And the discs are supposed to have better music, better sound quality, everything. I love the N64 version for the music, and like it played great. Both of the versions play great, absolutely. Dreamcast definitely has the visuals, and I would say that the game holds up pretty well. It's been several years since I've played through Rayman 2. The final boss was just as annoying as I freaking remember. It was super unnecessarily boring and difficult.
Well, there you go.
That's all I have for Rayman 2. My last game will be much longer. But what do you have for us?
So, this is a weird one. I'm sure nobody listening has ever heard of it. But I honestly, it was cheap enough, so I encourage you to go get it. I don't know what is up with me and buying all these digital games. Actually, now that I realized it. But it's called Kukiyomi, Consider It, exclamation point. Have you ever heard of it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So it's got single and multiplayer. It's described as having a very WarioWare-esque style of gameplay in which like just a
Okay.
random scenario is thrown at you and you have to kind of figure it out. But unlike the WarioWare games, it says there is no right or wrong answer or like set objective. It's just like how you would react to a situation, which it just depends on who you are, I suppose. But it's supposed to kind of test like your personality and how considerate, ha ha ha, pun, because it's called considerate, but like your consideration, they really got
Perfect.
us there in the English one. But anyway, and in multiplayer, it tests like your cooperation and as well as your character traits. So me and my friend, she was just looking for a random game to play that was cheap and fun on the eShop that we could do together. That was entertaining, and she found this one. And literally, the menu is basically in Japanese. It's got like little English subtitles, but it's like not helpful at all. And so you just kind of click on it, and then you're just bam thrust into this thing, and it's not even like a mini game. It's just kind of like something you do, which I know it doesn't make any sense, and trust me, it didn't make any sense for us either. But like at the end of each round or like little mini game, it would either give you like a ding ding ding, like you did something right, or like a noise that you did something wrong. And we tried so hard to get everything right with the ding 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 sound, but literally no explanation of what is right, no explanation for what is wrong, no reason for why we got those sounds at all. We were so freaking confused, but it made for, a lot of fun. It was developed by a company called Gmode. Apparently, this series has like a whole bunch of games that only came out in Japan. The first game was just called Kukuyomi, released for mobile phones in 2008. Didn't know that. Also, there is a Kukuyomi DS, which released on DSiWare in 2009. So it did come to other Nintendo consoles. What
the heck this is.
It's Kuukiyomi. But I'm pretty sure that one only came out in Japan. I don't think it saw a worldwide release, at least not in English. And
$5.
Yep. It's pretty wonka-doodle-doo. There are even versions made specifically for like female-focused questions, which I thought was cool. There's also been like some random collaborations and spin-off games released over the years, but again, only in Japan. So we will probably never see those. The series took a break for a while, and then returned to the Switch with Kukuyomi Considerate, which is the first one in the series. It was kind of based on the first one in the series, but I think it added multiplayer mode, so it was a little bit different. That released in 2018. It was ported to the PS4 in 2019. And yeah, so there's only 3 on the Switch right now in English. I think there's 5 on the Switch in Japanese, in Japan, but I could be wrong about that one. It's Kukuyomi Considerate 1, Kukuyomi Considerate More, and Kukuyomi Considerate More, I think, or More Considerate. Something like that. It just adds the word more again. And so we elected to get the second one because for whatever reason the second one was the only one that was on sale in the eShop. It was $2.50 instead of $5, and that felt
I have good news for you, Hannah.
Are they all on sale?
Kukuyomi 3, $2.50 right now.
Yay! Oh, that's so exciting. It was really a blast. It was like we were just looking at each other like, what is going on? So the unique thing about playing in multiplayer is you get to control 2 different things, like in WarioWare, you get like your own character, your own thing. But they're usually like on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. So like one person is controlling the people in the scenario, and then one person is controlling like the outside, whatever entity is trying to like disrupt the people or whatever it is. So you're playing on opposite sides, basically. So that was really fun to kind of figure out. I also played the single player mode just like 20 minutes before we started recording this because I was curious. So in the multiplayer mode, you play like 10 rounds, I think, and then it gives you like your personality traits and stuff. But the single player mode is all 100 games, and I did not realize that going into it. I thought it was going to be like, I'll sit down and just figure out what it is. But no, it's the whole thing. It's going to psychoanalyze you over 100 mini games. It still didn't take very long, but I just was not expecting that.
Oh, wow.
And so instead of like fun little like wackadoodle-do things like one of the WarioWare games is like ripping nose hairs out of Wario's nose or whatever, it's like more serious things. So it's like what stall do you use when somebody's in the first stall and there's 3 empty ones? Like which one do you go into? Or like if you're standing on a crowded subway and an old lady walks on, do you get up for the old lady or do you not? Another one was there's a little kid behind you at a baseball game and he's holding his glove up and the baseball is coming. Do you jump up and catch the ball? Do you do nothing? Or do you duck down so the kid can get the ball? It's like such random scenarios
Wow.
that you can imagine yourself in. And then also, that was just like the westernized ones that like my little Western brain could understand, because there was also like some wonkadoodle-doo Japanese ones. And it was just such like a cultural disconnect there. I was like, I, 1, don't know what's going on. And 2, I don't know how it wants me to react to this. So kind of finding that like fine line between Japanese culture and Western culture of like what they would consider considerate and what we would consider considerate is very different.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. And then I don't think there's any right or wrong answer, but at the end, like I said, it'll kind of display your character traits. So I got a 477 out of 1,000. So that's not even barely passing. That's not passing at all, as far as I'm concerned. That's a 47.7%. And I was trying to be so considerate. I was trying to do all the right things. But then there are some games where it's like, it kind of jukes you into doing something. So it'll be like, okay, I'm going to start and you're going to cut this rope when I say the word begin. And it's like, 1, are you ready? 2, almost there. 3, and then it'll say being. And you click cut and it's like, no, I did it wrong. So it kind of like jukes you into doing those kind of things. Like WarioWare does. But then it'll present you like a spectrum. Like, I don't ever know if you've seen like the kind of pentagon diagram, and it'll say like,
Oh, yeah.
it'll put attributes on each one of the points, and it'll pull the attributes in that direction. The 5 attributes at each of the points were know-how, role comprehension, empathy, insight, and timing. So whatever that was. And then it would give you kind of your general rating, and then you could do like advanced details and it would tell you more about it. But like, whoever translated this should be fired, because my overall general rating was, crap, what did it say? It says
Scumbag.
generally considerate. No, it said generally considerate, an understanding celebrity wife. I don't know what that means. I wish I could have seen like the actual Japanese. I probably could have translated it better, but like, it had no idea that I was a woman in any capacity. And I don't even know what a celebrity wife. How considered as a celebrity wife? Generally considerate, very considerate. I don't understand.
Joining me as always is the understanding celebrity wife herself.
I guess that's me. I don't understand. But all of the kind of translations were really, really strange. I wish I could have written them all down, because me and my friend were looking at each other like, what does that mean? They were all weird, but yeah, it was just a fun random thing, like WarioWare, but very different.
It sounds like a little bit of WarioWare and a little bit of Big Brain Academy. That's fun.
It was a delight. Her father was like cooking dinner or whatever, watching us, and he's like, what the hell are you guys playing? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I also don't know. But for $2.50, it was peak entertainment. We also played that for a couple hours. Totally worth it.
How did you even come across this?
She just looked at a list of like fun, cheap games to play with friends. And this was like the 15th choice out of like a list of 20. And she was like, yeah, this looks good. And we looked it up and it was $2.50. We're like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that's not a big risk at that price.
No. And I honestly would definitely probably buy the other ones just because this one was so interesting.
That's
just
awesome.
To see what other scenario it's going to throw me into.
Well, I wonder if anyone is going to pick that up now that you've mentioned that.
We'll see. Or maybe that one person's like, oh my god, I've played that. It's funny.
Yes, please comment if you are one of the other Yumi, I already forgot.
Kukiyomi.
Ah, yes,
Consider
yes.
Mm-hmm. Very fun.
Yeah, I mean, it must be pretty good. There's 3 games. So I was actually looking at the eShop on the internet just now, and you can click on the developer, which I didn't know you could do. That's pretty neat. And see what other games they have. They have a wide variety of genres, let me tell you. It's like a model train game.
Well, good for them.
I don't know what you do in a model train video game. Maybe it's a calming, relaxing game where you just put the pieces. I don't know.
I don't know, but it's a very Japanese thing. They love trains.
Interesting. All right. Well, my final one that we're going to talk about here is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. And
Ooh.
I am probably like 5 or 6 hours in. And it's massive. But let's talk about it. It is also developed by Massive. Massive Entertainment is the name of the developer. which I didn't know this, but they are a studio that is under Ubisoft.
Oh, interesting.
I'm sure most of the audience knew that. It's just me who doesn't keep up with modern games enough. Um, and you. So this one
Well, I don't
came
know a lot, so
out.
that doesn't say much.
This one came out last year at the very end of the year, and I heard like zero people talk about it. It was December 7th, 2023, and it was announced all the way back in 2017. So the game was like in development for like 6 or more years, and I remember the freaking movie getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and I feel like I remember the game getting delayed as well. I'm currently playing on Xbox Series X. It's on all the modern platforms except for Switch, including Amazon Luna. So all the Luna fans, go grab your freaking Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Nice.
So I got this for my birthday last month. I probably mentioned it last episode. It's been on my Amazon wish list. I thought somebody might get it for me for Christmas, but I'm totally cool with the birthday gift. Probably wouldn't have gotten around to it till now anyway. Um, so yeah, probably 5 or 6 hours in. The game actually connects to the movies, which I like a lot. I'm
Mm.
glad it is a spin-off of the films and not trying to like replicate them. I don't think that happens a whole lot these days. Like back in like the GameCube era, we're growing up and renting these games that are based on movies. It's like, yeah, they're just gonna loosely follow the plot and that'll be it. But we are so past that now that we can have games where like this. Like, let me tell you, this game, apparently there are elements from it that could connect to the third Avatar film, and they also plan to take elements and like connect it to future movies. That's like really cool.
Ooh, that is neat.
um, that's very cool. So the game starts off. We're actually going to talk about story with this one. The game starts off 8 years before the first movie, with 5 Na'vi children being a part of this like ambassador program. And so the humans created this program to train them and attempt to live amongst each other peacefully. Right off the bat, you can see like this commander who's like running this program. He's like not a fan of Na'vi at all, and he's just like, yeah, this is never gonna work. These are freaking monsters. We can't live amongst them. We need to eradicate them. But he's giving it a shot as long as he can control them. Obviously, that can't go well. So fast forward a few years, they grow up to like teenage age. One of these 5 kids tries to escape, ends up getting shot, and fast forward 8 more years, the humans start getting wrecked. Or I'm sorry, fast forward like a few more years, so now we're back at the same time as the first movie. So the humans are getting wrecked by Jake Sully from the first movie, or
Mm-hmm.
from both movies, I guess, and decides that they have to evacuate the planet. And so you control one of the Na'vi children, and you escape the facility, and you end up being put in a cryo sleep to hide from the humans. And you wake up freaking 16 years later,
Ooh.
and I can't even imagine. um, they wake up and they find out that they're being hunted by this dude who I was mentioning a minute ago that is just like can't stand the Na'vi. I mean, he couldn't stand them before. Now he really wants revenge on them. He wants to kill them all. Um, and yeah, you wake up 16 years later. You become a part of the resistance that's fighting against them. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at so far. This is a first-person game. I saw some debate on like people saying this should be a third-person game. Why are we doing first-person? Um, I think it works pretty well. I could see it being a third-person game as well, but I think it works pretty good so far. You find weapons throughout the game, but so far I've got the bow and arrow, and a couple of different guns, and there's like this staff that launches explosives. It's pretty sweet. The bow and
Hmm.
arrow is like super satisfying. I love a good bow and arrow in a video game. And there's a lot of stealth in this game, so that's kind of an important ingredient is having your bow and arrow. Your main missions are typically to like go to this base, shut it down, but it's full of security, so you have to kill everybody. But just like every other game of this genre, you got your Far Cries, you got like Batman Arkham, the new Spider-Man games from Insomniac. They're all like you want to do it quietly, or everyone will start coming for you at once. But it's optional. Just play how you like. So typically, when I play these types of games, it's like I'm going to do my best, and as soon as I get impatient and I end up alerting everyone, I'm just gonna wing it. That's how it goes.
Yeah, fuck it, just go for it.
I really don't. I can't stay patient too long, but that's just me.
Are you wait now? Are you
Um,
killing people or are you killing blue people?
no, you are a blue person, and you are killing humans.
Okay, nice. Down with the humans.
There's also turrets and aircrafts, and there is the mech suits that the humans are in from the movies. And just like in the movies, you can just like shoot an arrow right through the freaking front cockpit of the mech suit, which is pretty satisfying.
Very nice.
Um, Obviously they had to go all out with the graphics because it's freaking Avatar. They made Pandora a massive open world that you can explore at your own free will. Your map is only uncovered as you traverse to new areas. Um, the game is stunning. It plays in. I'm playing in visual mode because there's a performance mode and a visual mode. I'm playing in visual mode to experience Pandora the way it was meant to be experienced. It's just like you're playing through the gorgeous environment in the movie. They freaking nailed it. Been taking lots of screenshots, posted a couple in the Discord. You quickly get your own Ekron, which is this dragon that you bond with, and it's like your homie, and that's your fast travel. Not fast travel. It's like that's your best means of traveling. Because there also is fast travel, but yeah, like for a while, for the first few hours, it's like great. I'm gonna have to run around this freaking planet. It takes forever to get to the next mission. But I finally got an Ekron, so that was nice, and now I just fly everywhere. Um, there's plenty of things to pick up. It's one of those crafty games, so you got to pick up food to cook. You have to pick up, um, stuff to make your ammo and whatnot. All kinds of crap to pick up on the ground. There's hunting. You hunt animals, and if you kill them with your arrow, you can get cooking ingredients out of them. Whereas if you light them up with your machine gun, you're gonna ruin the meat. So that's neat.
Oh no.
But like literally all these beautiful like environmental things, all these beautiful plants that are like 15 different colors that you would never see on Earth. They're like you can go pick up a piece of fruit from that thing, and it's like incredibly cool. It's very cool. There's a Navi Vision button that like it seems like every open world game has these days, where you just like hold down a button and it highlights the world around you, and it's like, oh, that object can be picked up or that needs to be interacted with. um I say it like in a negative context. It's fine, I don't have any issues with it. But I do have one thing I want to bring up that is incredibly lame. There is something so when you go to a new mission, there's a lot of times where you'll have to do this investigation, and basically you'll be told that someone went missing, for example, and you need to go check out the last place that they were seen. So you use your Navi vision once you get to this location, and you start looking for clues. The thing is, there'll be like 6 things you have to click on, but only in a specific order. So it's
Ugh.
like, okay, I click on this rag, and the character is like, I wonder if this rag was used by Joe to wipe his gun. And then you have to find another clue that connects to that. And so you choose one of the other 5. You're like walking around just like cluelessly clicking on the other 5 clues, cluelessly clicking on for clues.
Ugh.
And it's like you really have no clue, and so it's impossible to know the order. And you do that 3 times. There's no penalty, thankfully, for getting the order wrong, so you just keep clicking them randomly. um and then your character just like magically puts the story together. It's like, all right, we found all the clues, this is exactly what happened, because I'm just like freaking Sherlock Holmes out here. um
Huh.
and then half the time you're like, how the heck did you even make those assumptions based off these random items on the ground? It's kind of crazy. It's cheesy,
Hmm.
it's lame, it's incredibly easy, and I think the game could have done without it.
Oh. Well, it seems to me like the Navi vision is like a cheat. Like I feel like that takes away all the exploration.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess you could guess you could use that argument.
Is that canon? Do they have that in the movies? I don't remember that.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't remember any Navi vision in the movies. That's
That's all
not
I'm
canon.
saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so common now. Like, I'm so used to it. Like, Breath of the Wild doesn't have that, but it seems like
Mm-mm.
every other open world game, it's just like a standard. It is kind of like easy mode. It is very much like giving you the shortcuts so you don't have to aimlessly wander around, look for a piece of fruit or look for an animal to kill or whatever.
That's all I'm
Um,
saying.
it's probably for the better, honestly, for someone that doesn't want to, I don't know, someone
Play the
that's
game.
not patient. As far as glitches, I've actually had one annoying audio glitch happen multiple times, but the development team is like always putting out new updates, and it seems like they really care about this game even 5 months later, which sounds like a different thing that I would expect for a Ubisoft title. I just feel like Ubisoft is such a cash company, and they're just like, yeah, we'll just get this out, and hopefully it does well, and we're gonna stop supporting it immediately. But I don't know. I don't play a ton of Ubisoft. I'm mostly speaking from the outside. Truthfully, I have not heard a single person talk about this game. Have you seen anyone talk about this game?
No.
So I think that's kind of a shame. I think it's a pretty solid game. I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. But apparently, there have been over 2 million players, and it made $133 million in revenue. So it's doing well
Oh.
enough. And also, what sucks about the fact that I have not heard a single person talk about it is it's got 2-player co-op, which sounds like a freaking blast. But alas, I don't know any of those 2 million players.
Oh man. Huh.
um, Average review scores are around a 7.5 out of 10, so pretty solid, pretty average, I suppose.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, my suggestion to the listeners is if you like the movies and you're into open world games, I think it's worth your time. That's my I'm 6 hours in suggestion. I will update you guys next month, see how I'm feeling, but I like it. It's pretty fun.
How long of a game is it?
I actually haven't looked, but I'm assuming it's like 40 plus hours. I imagine it's
Hmm.
a lengthy one, especially if you're doing side missions. And honestly, Hannah, I'm doing side missions. Like I'm not rushing through this.
Wow. Well, look at
Yeah.
you. Are you saying you're enjoying the story too? Or you just like mash the button, get out of here, mash,
No,
mash,
I.
mash, mash.
The problem is that I never mash through story in anything I play. The problem is I don't retain any of it, right? Like, but no, I'm paying attention
Right.
and I'm listening and everything.
Oh well, you like the Avatar movie, so I guess that is really cool that it connects. But I do not, and I've said that
Yeah.
many, many a times.
I'm
But
like surprised with how much like okay, the first movie's like record setting and it was like so iconic for 2009, and then nowadays it's like I hear a lot of hate for it, and it's like how did it ever get this like level of iconic back then and now no one seems to like it. Obviously no one is an exaggeration, but that's what
yeah.
it feels like.
Well, it was so iconic, and then everyone watched it, and then we're like, "Ooh, this is kind of cool," and then we had to wait freaking 20 years for the next one, and then the next
Yeah.
one that came out was just basically a retelling of the first one plus a little bit more, and it was 3 hours. That's my gripe.
You sat through the second one?
No,
Oh,
no, I
so you
didn't.
have no
But
idea.
they wanted me to, and it was just yeah. Well, my grandmother loves it, and I asked her about it, and she was like, "Yeah, like the first 2 hours was just like you didn't need that because you set it up in the first one. It was like the latter half that you actually needed to see. It was like the same shit over again."
I enjoyed it.
That's my gripe. And most Avatar fans would. I'm sure it looked beautiful, but like whatever.
So yeah,
But I mean,
that's
it seems
that.
interesting enough. I like the open world aspect of it, and the collecting and the crafting, and that seems cool. It's just the blue people I have a problem with.
You won't ever have to subject yourself to it, Hannah. No worries.
Thank you. But go
What's
ahead.
up?
I was just gonna say I have a few more like honorable mentions or ones that I like kind of play, but like I've already talked about and or nobody wants to hear about. I
Go
can just
for it. I
rattle
need
those
some
off.
water.
So Kiwi, I think I talked about a couple months ago, if not last month. It's like it's co-op. It's you play as these cute little kiwi birds, and you're kind of working like a post office or like any sort of like communications kind of thing. So you have to do like press on a typewriter or like send letters and send packages or whatever. It's very fun. It's very cute co-op. I think it was like $7 when I bought the physical version. Super fun. You can also customize your little kiwi. You can make him like wear top hats or glasses or like a jetpack or like fun little shoes, a tie, a suit. You can even customize like his little fur to like look like a clownfish or to look like anything you literally want. It's really really cool. Super fun. Would definitely recommend that if you just need like a fun little cute co-op game to play. Also Jeopardy on the Switch is so freaking fun.
Let's
I love
go.
Jeopardy. And it came in a 2-pack with Wheel of Fortune. Haven't played Wheel of Fortune, but Jeopardy is so damn fun. It is so fun to crush your friends in trivia that you mostly are just guessing with anyway. Super fun. And then for whatever dumb reason, I restarted Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in New Game Plus mode. So I'm like a level 99 out there smashing level 1 enemies, level 2 enemies, level 3 enemies. So easy. I don't know why I did that because I know I'm going to put another 100 hours into it. But like the story is just so beautiful and the gameplay is just so good. But I've talked about that a lot. So I will not bore you guys with it again. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
You gotta get back into the other Batten Kaitos.
Baten Kaitos, Baten Kaitos, yes. I think I might put Xenoblade 3 on the back burner, but I do have a list of games on my backlog that I really need to get to, and I will play next whenever I get more time. After yours.
I kind of I took a break from Final Fantasy VII to get into Okami and make sure I had that done for last month's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am starting another big game, Avatar, and I'm like, well, I need to get back to Final Fantasy VII at some point. So I don't know when that's gonna happen, but it's been on my mind a lot, especially with the freaking new game coming out and everybody's obsessed with it. But yeah, I've mentioned it. I was having a great time with that game. I'm only like 10 or 12 hours in, but still got a long way to go in that one.
Man, how long is it?
Um,
Like 50?
that's another one I don't know the answer to. I would say 50 probably.
That's what I thought.
So I'm trying out a new bedtime game. Wario Master of Disguise is like a game I've
Mm.
never heard a soul talk about on the DS. Um, honestly, it's pretty cool. It seems like it's only like 6 levels, but like one of them took me an hour to get through the other night. Um,
God.
essentially, it is a platformer, almost like a Metroidvania style, where you have to like go around the level and you have a map and you have lots of different power ups. And it like really heavily uses the touchscreen, which I honestly, dude, I'm learning that I just love gimmicky Nintendo stuff. I love the Wii remote stuff, unless it's Okami. I love the freaking touchscreen. Like, anytime you're using like any kind of nonsense that Nintendo came up with, I am just like, I'm all for it. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
if I want to go play a regular game, I'll go to PlayStation or Xbox. But if I want to like have some gimmicky fun, I'm gonna go play a freaking DS game or whatever. Um, but yeah, this uses the touchscreen heavily, and you always have the stylus out. Your left hand is or right hand if you're left-handed, but your one of your hands is always on the D-pad, and you have to do everything else with the touchscreen. So it's pretty cool.
That's fun. I think I actually have that game. I want to say I got it at a Goodwill for really, really cheap a long time ago. But interesting.
I don't even know what the ratings are like or what the general public opinion is. Like, I've never heard anyone talk about this game.
I feel like Wario is definitely a slept on character until very recently. For whatever reason, he had like a resurgence with all these WarioWare games.
That's true. He's gotten quite a few: 3DS, Wii U, Switch.
Yeah, man. He's up and coming. What can I say?
I also tried out Bonk's Adventure on the TurboGrafx 16. This is a fun little platformer. Bonk's like the face of the TurboGrafx. Little caveman baby. Cave baby man? He is. It's a pretty fun game. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if my controller is like messed up. The TurboGrafx has turbo switches. Maybe that's where the name came from on the controllers. And it's really weird because it's not like any other console I've played on. The turbo switches are like there's 3 levels, and so you set it to 1, 2, or 3. But even reading the manual, I'm like, what the heck do these? Okay, you know what? The manual actually made it worse. It was like it mentioned the turbo switches. This is the Bonk manual, not the console manual. This is for Bonk specifically. It was like try out different turbo levels upon like different levels to see how it can help you or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Like one button is jump and the other is attack. And from what I know about turbo buttons or switches, like they make the like if you hold the button down, it's like hitting the button for you. I'm pretty sure that's what a turbo switch does. So why
Huh.
would I want to endlessly jump? Right? Like I don't understand what I'm doing. I need to watch a video or something. Um, but I also feel that I push the jump button half the time, and the dude doesn't jump. So I'm wondering if my controller is messed up.
Oof, that would aggravate me to no end.
Right, like it's yeah. That being said, though, I got pretty far in the game for potentially messed up controller before I
Hmm,
lost.
impressive.
What do you want to play from the backlog?
So the first one I have on my list is Red Dead Redemption because mwah,
Oh
I got it as a
yeah,
gift and I'm very excited about it. The other two are Dragon Quest Treasures, which I got a while ago, and just have put off playing, and then Dragon Quest Monsters, which came out fairly recently. Um, that one, they're both spin-offs, so I don't know like what universe they're set in, if it's like a prequel, a sequel, or like just kind of like a side story. No idea. Excited to jump into those. The other one is Hogwarts Legacy, which me and my friends started. We did like the character customization. We started blah 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 blah. I think we only played like 35 minutes of it before we
yeah.
stopped. Not because we didn't like it, just because we were tired and we wanted to go home. Um, but that one, I love Harry Potter, obviously. That one seems like it's going to take me a very, very long time, and I will get super duper 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 obsessed with it. So I'm like trying to hold back from playing it just for a little bit longer. And then the other one, of course, is Bait and Kato's Origins, because that one will definitely take me 60 hours, but I feel like it'll be a fast 60 hours, if that makes sense.
Are you going to You're not gonna wait for your friend for Hogwarts? You're gonna play it by yourself?
I'll probably just play it by myself. It's too hard to get all of us together. And then I'll just be
Mm.
like, okay, this is what I've done. So then I'll just watch you play for a little bit and I'll kind of like walk you through it. But it's like one of the friends that I've played with has played it completely all the way through twice. So she like knows
Wow.
everything. And then my other friend, like this is her first jump into like open world big games where you're controlling the character with both sticks. So she's like trying to fight these things and like looking down and looking up and like looking to the side and walking randomly. So it's like it's such a stark contrast between where me and my friend are and where she is. And so she feels bad because she's like not holding us back. She feels like she is. It's just fucking entertaining to watch her like run into the wall and die and be like, "Damn it, this sucks." It's so funny. But it's too hard to get all three of us together, so either she'll have to buy her own copy or we'll just kind of play when we get together.
Well, now that I
But
have seen them all, I look forward to hearing about it when you play it.
I'm very excited.
The only one I wrote down is Half-Life. This is a game
Mm.
that is like super important for the history of first-person shooters, and I've never played it, and I know you've never played it. We're both slacking on that.
Correct.
You're not a big FPS girl, but
No.
I love me some first-person shooters, and this is just like one of those games that people talk about in the top 10 lists, top 50 lists, and I'm excited to check it out. I want to do that this year. Have it on. It'll be a PC game. I don't remember the last time I played a game on PC.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Look
it
at
is.
you. Are you sure
Be
your computer
moving
can run
with
it?
be moving the freaking character with WASD like a freaking real gamer out here.
Oh my goodness, that is very exciting. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be
How
crazy.
fun. Cool. Oh, I want to add The Last of Us to my list because I got that when I was with you in Texas a while ago, and I should be able to hook up my PlayStation 3 to play it. But if they moved it to the Switch, which I know they would never do, I would prefer to play that one.
I that could be an episode because I also have never played that freaking game.
That would be fun.
I
I
need
would
to
do it.
watch that show.
Oh, it is so good. So good. You are missing out.
Apparently, I'm missing out on this new Fallout show too. I've never played Fallout, but I'll probably watch that.
I, me and my grandmother watched the first episode. I knew what Fallout was, obviously, but like, it got super gory and super graphic really, really quick, and she had no idea, and I had no idea. And she's looking at me, and there's like body parts flying all over the place and blood spattering right in the camera, and she's like, "What the fuck is this? This is not at all what I thought it was gonna be." She thought it was gonna be like just a post-apocalyptic kind of world, and not like blood splashing everywhere. It's it's very kind of self-aware that it's based on a video game, and I really appreciated that. Like The Last of Us was not at all. It was just like a super dramatic, beautifully written piece, and this is like it knows that it's based on a video game and it's going to like show you that it is, but like in a TV format, if that makes any sense.
That sounds fun.
It was very fun. We only watched the first episode, but I think it's all out now. I think the whole season's all out now. But I'm definitely going to continue because it was hilariously gory and funny and kind of self-aware. And it was good. I would watch it.
Yeah, they put the whole show out in one go instead of weekly.
Oh, they did? Okay. I didn't know. Cool.
Cool. That's what we've been watching. What you been buying?
Ooh, hold on. You say, because I have a whole thing over here. Hold on, let me get up.
Oh
It's a whole
snap!
pile. I know, look at this. Look at this. Nobody else can see this, but look. Look at that.
Oh, I
Can
can
you see
barely
this?
see the top one. I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay, I will go through all of them. Are you ready? So, for whatever reason, Walmart is deciding to clearance like a bunch of their games and stuff. So a lot of games
Oh,
are like $5, $10 or whatever. And so I just happened to kind of stumble upon when they were releasing it on Twitter, like, oh, this is $5, this is $10, blah, 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 blah. Very regional specific depending on what your Walmart had. So I was able to snag a few online, and then I went to the one in person, and they had a different selection. So a lot of these were $5, some of these were $10. I got Active Life Outdoor Challenge, which is the big box that you see. I think it's at Target also with the strap. I have no idea what it is, but it was $5. Why
doesn't
not?
hang on.
Then I
That
got
one says
what?
only at Target, doesn't it?
This one does not,
Oh,
but I was looking for that variant, so this one is different.
I am incredibly jealous of that and everything else you're about to tell me.
Well, this box is beat up to shit, so maybe you're not that jealous of it, but $5. Come on now. The other one I have here is Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville Complete Edition. This was also
Nice.
$5. Never
What
played
the
a Plants
heck?
vs. Zombie game.
Me either.
I got Catan. Me and my friends were thinking about playing like the board game edition, but we're like, you know what's even better? A digital edition, because it tells you what you can and can't do. It tells you the rules. It's pre-programmed in it. So we don't have to do anything.
Dude, what the heck is Catan?
You've never heard of Catan?
I guess not.
It's like one of the best tabletop RPGs, or I don't know if it's an RPG, but tabletop games of all time.
Wow.
It's everywhere. In the card section, at literally Walmart or Target or anything.
Huh.
Next, No Man's Sky, $10. I already owned it, but it was $10. And I have a problem. The other one is All-Star Kart Racing with big old Shrek on the front.
Oh, heck yeah. Is that Kung Fu
This was
Panda?
$10. Yeah, we got Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, Donkey, we got Fiona, Farquaad, the people from How to Train Your Dragon. So, That was $10, and again, I have a problem. Probably never gonna play it. Then I got Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania for $5.
That one seems like it's all over Twitter. It seems like everyone's getting that for $5.
$5 seems like not a horrible deal. Plus, it's got multiplayer, so that's fun. I also got 2 copies of that because I have a problem. The other ones were not a part of the Walmart clearance, but I just so happened to acquire them. Is Detective Pikachu Returns.
Whoa.
And speaking of WarioWare Move It. Because they
Oh,
were both
very
on sale.
cool.
So I'm very excited about those. This one is like always $30. The WarioWare Move It. It's like always on sale for $30.
Until one day it
So.
won't be.
Until one day it won't be, but somebody bought them for me, so how could I complain about free games?
$5 is practically free as well, by the way. That's incredible.
Right? Right? Oh.
No, I would buy everything if I should have freaking gone to Walmart, man. It's probably way too late now.
This is probably a cheat code, and I'm not gonna, well, I'm gonna say it to everyone listening, but if you go to the Walmarts that are in like the lower income areas, more of them are on sale. More of them are clearanced out because less people are picking them up. So they're like, okay, if I give them for $5, people will probably pick them up. That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
Cheat code.
That collector tip over here at the 2-hour mark of the episode. Hour and a half mark.
Yeah, but it's a secret, so don't tell anybody else. Wink.
Well, that's a shame.
What about
That's
you?
freaking awesome. Good job, dude.
Thank you. Thank you. I was also quite impressed.
On the other hand, I am picking up freaking Xbox 360 stuff because everyone and their mom, dude, the eShop shut down last month, the end of the month, and then everybody was like, all right, what's the next thing we can blow out of proportion? What's the next thing we can be pissed off about for no reason? You know what? The Xbox 360 store closes July 29th. Let's start hyping that to the moon. So that's what happened. And so my YouTube feed is full of these freaking YouTubers like, get these 10 Xbox 360 games before the shop closes. And I'm like, dude, I don't even care. But now I have to go out and buy these stupid games. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's fun for me to like go out there and try to find these games before they before like stores realize that they're going up in value. I didn't find anything cool. But I did buy some neat stuff. I'm not even gonna. I'll show you since we're on FaceTime some of them. But I'm not gonna go through all of them because most of them are pretty lame. I got Mass Effect 2. This is a trilogy of games that I've never played that I'm struggling on, or I am slacking on. Dude, Star Wars Force Unleashed 2. That's like a really cool limited, or no, that says bonus code and hint mini guide. Yeah, I need to play these games for sure. They've always looked pretty cool. I got Fable 3. I don't have Fable 3.
Nice.
These games, I don't know much about them. FPS games, but they actually look super fun. Red Faction Armageddon.
Nice.
We got a car game called Fuel, and it's a GameStop variant. But you know what sucks about it? Look at that spine, dude. The spine on this game is reversed. Whoa. They hate me.
Oh, no.
I might not have bought it if I knew that.
Oh, no. Why would they do that?
Quite possibly the coolest pickup, dude. Do you remember Viva Pinata?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never played it, but it's freaking rareware, I mean. This is what they went to go do after Banjo-Kazooie. I got Viva Pinata Party Animals. Probably a garbage game.
Oh, don't say that.
No, I don't know. It might be the new Mario Party in my household. I have no idea.
There you go.
So that's a few of my 360 pickups. But I got an Amazon gift card from someone for my birthday last month. And you know what? I made a purchase that I've been needing to make for a while. This is one of the greatest games I've ever played. Psychonauts 2.
Ooh.
And it's got this
Is it new?
It is a brand new sealed copy from Amazon. This game is like 2 or 3 years old. It's the Mother Lobe edition, which is a stupid thing because it's the only edition. I really hate when games are like the day one edition. That's the only edition. I hate that crap. Um, but this thing is in a slipcover, and it also has a lenticular cover like taped to the front of the slipcover, and it is gorgeous. And I played this game digitally, and I'm very, very happy to have it physically. Highly recommend Psychonauts.
Nice.
And I don't own Psychonauts 1, Hannah, so you know what? I had an eBay gift card, and I bought Psychonauts 1, and it's in my mailbox, so I can't show you right now.
Oh, was that on the original Xbox?
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that crap.
Well, look at us. We both picked up a lot of games. Write that down.
Yeah,
it might be
did.
the first one in 50 episodes.
I have one more stupid thing to show you if I can pull it out quick enough.
Ooh.
Here it is.
Ooh.
A new Rayman game that I can't comprehend.
Whoa.
Rayman
What?
Pre-Escolar. It's a preschool educational game.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah. That's
cool.
That's what's new in my collection.
Man, look at us go. We're killing it.
Bunch of hoarders.
That's exactly what we are. Thank you. Saying it. What is it called as you see it? Mm-hmm. Nice.
Are you planning to you're planning to come to Texas, right? That's what you're doing this week?
Literally in 12 hours, yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay, cool. Well, I look forward to hanging out with you whenever you get some free time. We can go to some game stores. But I did write some news down. You want to cover some news real quick?
Ooh, yeah, definitely. I have a few things as well, but let's see. You go first this time.
Apple is allowing emulators, Hannah.
Well, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, didn't they take it down?
No. The internet is like, unless it happened in the last like day.
I don't know. I thought Nintendo petitioned to take it down or something, but maybe that's wrong.
Well, now I'm second guessing myself, but people have been losing their minds. It's like covering my Twitter feed and Instagram even. Like people are like, I don't know, like even like people that I know who have like all these games physically, they're like, holy crap, I can play Animal Crossing on the DS on my phone now. I don't know. I don't care personally, but I'm happy that people are happy.
That's nice.
The most important thing that happened in the last few weeks is there is a new Rayman board game coming out, Hannah.
Oh, I saw that and I almost texted it to you, but I was like, he definitely knows.
I had like 3 or 4 people text me when they saw it. Yeah, I'm never gonna play it. I'll probably buy it and keep it sealed and just be the hoarder that I am. But that's 2 things, 3 things. We have a Rayman pin set that just came out, so I don't know what's going on over there at Ubisoft. Maybe they're doing some kind of remaster or something, but it's exciting.
What is the game? Is it like a Monopoly or like a Sorry or like a...
I am sorry to tell you that I have no freaking clue.
Okay, doesn't matter. It says doesn't matter, getting it anyway. Okay.
And then I wrote the new three Switch Online games that came out this month. So they were Super R-Type on the Super Nintendo, a nice shmup game. Wrecking Crew 98 for the Super Famicom. And Amazing Hebereki for the Super Famicom. Those came. I haven't played them yet. Mm-hmm. I want to play Wrecking Crew 98.
That would be fun. I also wrote that in my news. But then the other thing I wrote is they just had a Nintendo Indie Showcase 2-3 days ago? 5, I don't know. Last week, I think, something like that. And as far as Indie Directs goes, there's actually 2 games that I thought were super interesting and I might pick up if they review well and or good and or on sale. The first one is Little Kitty Big City, which is very reminiscent of Stray, which is the cat game that came out. It's just you're a cat and you're just roaming the city. Kind of like, what was that one? Untitled Goose Game. Like, you can
Oh,
interact with the
nice.
players, you can pick things, do quests, like solve little puzzles, whatever. It's like that with a cat. Love cats. The second one is Refined Self, the personality test game. And it's kind of like the game that I mentioned earlier, where at the end of it, it kind of shows like your personality traits, and like it'll put you into a class based on like the things that you do. So you basically just play this action game as you would, make decisions, do this, do that, spend time here, do this, whatever it is. And then, like I said, it'll classify you based on the things that you did, which I think is super fascinating. I was going to look up gameplay and also look up like the story, if there is one, and then like kind of what to do. But literally the first review I said is, if the title and the little gameplay that it showed you in the Nintendo or the Indie Direct or Indie Showcase interested you, don't look it up any further. Just play it, and then you'll see what it's about. So I was like, well, now I can't tell anyone else about it. But it looked really interesting.
All right. Well, I look forward to you buying that and telling us about it. That sounds cool.
Well, when we do our indie episode, maybe I'll talk about them.
Oh, I'm going to have to buy a lot of games for a whole episode on indies.
Well, it's a good thing they're so short and usually very cheap.
My last question for you before we go, Hannah. I forgot. I had a question for you. Oh, are you going to buy Endless Ocean?
No. Probably not. Are you?
No, I'm not. I am interested in it. I could see myself picking it up on sale or something. I don't know. It sounds fun to swim around and just explore, but I don't know. I don't know.
Did
Not a full
you?
price game for me.
Yeah. Did you play it on the Wii?
No, I probably should. Like, that would be a good demo for me to like see if it's even something that's worth my money, because I have one of them.
I think it is interesting. I just don't know what the gameplay is like. Is it like literally just swim around the ocean? Is there no story? Is there no like quests or like
I
puzzles
think
to
there are
solve?
quests.
There are. Okay.
I think it's the
Interesting.
type of deal, I could be wrong. I think it's the type of situation where you have to like cross off, maybe it's like you get to cross off all the fish in your list, like getting all the Pokemon in your Pokédex or whatever. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there are quests though.
That makes sense. But it is interesting that you get to play with friends though.
That
I think
that's
it said 32 friends or whatever.
that's the part that intrigues me the most. I did see a tweet that was like, "Yeah, the 32 people that care about this game are going to be really excited."
Yep. Yeah, I saw that same tweet. Oh, that's so sad. Well, I think it's an interesting concept. It's just for me there needs to be like something else besides just the exploration.
Yeah. If I had some friends that were like getting into it and they were like, I mean, I could be persuaded, honestly. I could be persuaded to pick this up if it ends up being pretty good.
Well, it might be one of Nintendo's like last first party releases for the Switch. We
That's
don't know.
true.
So, and it could be rare down in the future. Just saying.
All right. Well, everyone should thank Hannah for hanging out until 1 in the morning Florida time because she's got to get up early probably. And
Yep.
I think we're going to wrap it up.
Sounds good. Sorry for not asking a question this time, but we literally just figured out what we were doing like 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's 2 months in a row. We got to get on it next month.
Yeah, so next month, hopefully, look for a question in either the Discord or on my Instagram story. Always like to hear from you guys.
What's that Instagram handle?
Oh, Game Girl Advance SP.
I am at Bird Dog Gaming everywhere on the internet, and we will see you guys next month for the 50th episode spectacular.
Woohoo! That's very exciting. Look at us go.